Commander Elena Hart sat in the bridge of the small human exploration ship, Starfire, staring at the starry emptiness ahead. Space was calm, almost peaceful, but something felt wrong. Her crew of 20 had been on patrol in the outer rim of human-occupied space for months, mapping asteroids and checking for rogue signals. It was a quiet mission, and most days were slow. But today the sensors picked up a signal unlike anything they had seen before. The signal was faint at first, a soft pulse deep in a sector that had been empty for years. It repeated every few seconds, almost like a heartbeat. Lieutenant Marco, the ship's communications officer, frowned as he adjusted the receiver. "Commander, this isn't any standard human transmission. The frequency doesn't match anything in our database." Elena leaned forward, resting her hands on the console. "Could it be alien?" she asked quietly. Her voice carried a mix of curiosity and caution. Marco shook his head. "I don't know. It doesn't match anything we've seen from the Vorton or the Zerth." The Zerth. Elena's mind went straight to them. The Zerth were the largest alien threat humans had encountered so far. Their fleets were massive, their technology advanced, and their reputation for aggression was well known. She glanced at her crew. "We need to investigate," she said firmly. "We can't ignore a signal in this sector, but stay alert. This could be a trap." The crew nodded. The bridge buzzed with quiet activity, as engineers and sensors officers worked to track the source. The signal led them to a hidden asteroid field, one that radar had long considered empty. Elena frowned at the screen. "Asteroid field?" she muttered. "Nothing should be here. The field is too dense for large ships. Whoever or whatever is transmitting is hiding." Lieutenant Aria, the ship's pilot, glanced at her. "We can navigate it, Commander, but we'll have to be careful. One wrong move and the ship could be shredded." Elena smiled faintly. "That's why we have the best crew in human space." She tapped her comms panel. "Prepare for manual navigation. I want the signal analyzed while we move closer." As the Starfire moved slowly into the field, the crew noticed something unusual. The signal was not just repeating, it was sending a pattern, almost like it was trying to communicate. Marco's eyes widened. "Commander, this is clever. Whoever sent this knows someone is listening. It's almost like a greeting." Elena nodded slowly. "Or a warning. Either way, we find out soon enough." She watched the screens, the familiar stars passing by the windows. Then on the long-range sensors she saw it. A dark shape moving between the asteroids. It was huge, almost like a floating fortress, and it did not match any human design. Her heart beat faster. "All stations, identify that object," she ordered. The sensors officers worked quickly, but the readings were strange. The object emitted energy, but not the kind humans used. Its shields were unlike anything in their database, and its hull reflected sensors in ways that made it nearly invisible. "Commander, it's huge," one officer whispered. Elena's mind raced. Could this be a Zerth scouting ship, or something else entirely? She gave the command she had hoped she would never have to give. "Keep your distance. We do not engage unless fired upon. Stay alert." The Starfire moved carefully, gliding past massive asteroids as the alien shape followed its own path silently. Elena felt a mix of fear and excitement. Humans had faced alien threats before, but never had they encountered a vessel this size, this advanced in uncharted space. Then, a warning signal flashed on the main console. Another fleet had appeared on long-range sensors, dozens of ships surrounding the asteroid field. Elena's stomach tightened. "Zerth?" she asked. The communications officer nodded grimly. "Yes, Commander." "Their fleet just jumped in. They're scanning us now." Elena's jaw tightened. The human ship was small, almost nothing compared to the alien fleet. But she remembered something her mentor had once told her. Humans were unpredictable. They were clever, adaptable, and brave when it mattered most. That could make all the difference. "Crew," she said, her voice steady, "we are about to meet the aliens face to face. Remember what we are. Humans don't back down. We observe, we think. We fight if we must, but we survive first. Eyes sharp. Minds sharper. Let's see what they're made of." As the Starfire edged deeper into the asteroid field, both the human crew and the hidden alien observers knew that the calm of the stars was about to be shattered. Somewhere in that darkness a message was being sent, and the first look would change everything. The alien fleet, massive and cold, paused as they detected the human ship. Their scanners struggled to measure it fully. And for the first time in centuries, the Zerth commanders felt something unfamiliar. Hesitation. Elena didn't know it yet, but their first look at a human warship was about to make a fleet freeze. The Starfire glided silently through the dense asteroid field, its sensors constantly scanning for danger. Commander Elena Hart stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the long-range monitor. The alien fleet was massive, dozens of ships glinting like dark stars in the void. Yet as she studied them, a strange sensation ran through her crew. The aliens seemed cautious. Hesitation. Lieutenant Marco's fingers flew across the console. Commander, their fleet is holding position. They're not attacking. Elena raised an eyebrow. Not attacking? They have numbers, weapons, everything. Why wait? Arya, the pilot, leaned over her navigation panel. Maybe they don't understand us, Commander. Maybe they haven't seen anything like our ship before. Elena nodded. That could be it. Humans had always surprised others with unexpected tactics, unpredictable moves, and courage that no one thought possible. She studied the alien formation. Their ships were arranged carefully, like a net ready to trap a single target. But a human was rarely predictable. Open a visual channel, Elena ordered. The screen flickered and then revealed the nearest alien ship. Its surface was dark, angular, and covered in strange lights that pulsed like living energy. The alien vessel was enormous, far larger than the Starfire, and its design seemed completely alien. The bridge was silent. Every crew member held their breath. Elena had seen alien ships before, but never one like this. Majestic, threatening, and intelligent in its design. Commander, Marco whispered, they're scanning us. Elena nodded. Let them. We have nothing to hide, but we won't be intimidated either. She tapped a control on the console and the Starfire shifted slightly, showing the ship's full size and shape. Its sleek hull reflected the asteroid field light, and energy shields glowed faintly around it. The alien fleet paused. Something in their network communicated silently, and for the first time, hesitation spread among the Zerth commanders. No ship moved forward. No weapons were fired. It was as if they were trying to understand what they were seeing. Lieutenant Arya spoke softly, almost in awe. Commander, they're frozen. Completely frozen. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Humans had a way of surprising others, and she had hoped this moment would come. Hold your position. Let them think. Observe. The Starfire glided forward slowly, moving carefully among the massive asteroids, showing discipline and control. Its sensors analyzed every alien ship, every movement, every energy pattern. The Zerth were powerful, but humans had something that no algorithm could predict. Instinct, courage, and intelligence combined. Suddenly, a faint signal pulsed from one of the alien ships. It was a scan beam, measuring the human ship, but the Starfire's shields absorbed it effortlessly. Elena watched the readings. They're surprised by our shields. Their tech can't penetrate fully. They expected an easy target. Marco glanced at her. Commander, their fleet looks confused. Some ships are retreating slightly while others hesitate. They don't know what to do. Elena nodded, understanding the power of perception. Humans didn't always need weapons to win. Sometimes being disciplined, confident, and clever was enough. Good, she said. We are showing them that humans are not weak. They are not invincible either. She tapped a command on the console, and the Starfire rotated slowly, displaying its full energy array. Glowing panels ran along its hull, and the ship's power systems hummed, visible even to long-range sensors. It was a clear message: humans were ready. Humans were capable. Humans were dangerous when underestimated. The Zerth commanders whispered across their network. Some called for a full retreat, fearing the unknown capabilities of the human vessel. Others argued to attack, but the hesitation was clear. This was the first time they had encountered a human warship, and the first look left them unsettled. Elena remained calm. She knew the aliens were intelligent and cautious, but she also knew that humans had a way of turning fear into respect. Keep all systems on standby, she ordered. If they attack, we defend. If they hesitate, we observe. Never underestimate anyone, crew. That's what makes humans different. Suddenly, a small probe detached from one of the alien ships. It moved slowly toward the Starfire, scanning the hull. Elena watched as the crew activated countermeasures. Not weapons, just signals and shields that confused her. He probes sensors. The probe stopped, paused, and then retreated back to the alien fleet. Marco grinned. Commander, we just outsmarted a probe before it even touched us. Elena smiled. Exactly. And that is the human advantage. We think we adapt, we survive. They have numbers. We have brains and courage. The tension on the bridge eased slightly. The alien fleet remained in formation, frozen and cautious. The humans had not fired a single weapon, but they had made their point. The Starfire was not just a ship. It was a statement. Elena looked at her crew. They were tense but ready, proud and alert. "Remember this moment," she said quietly. "This is the first step. They see us and they know humans are different. They know we will fight if we must, and they will never forget this first look." In the cold darkness of space, the alien fleet hesitated. For the first time, they sensed that humans were not ordinary. Something in that single, small ship, its discipline, its intelligence, its courage, made them pause. And in that pause, humans had already begun to win. The standoff continued, tense and silent as both sides studied each other. Somewhere in the stars, a human warship had shown that even in the face of overwhelming power, humans had the ability to make the impossible seem simple and terrifying. The Starfire floated calmly in the middle of the asteroid field, surrounded by the massive alien fleet. The Zerth ships had not moved for minutes, scanning the human warship with visible hesitation. On the bridge, Commander Elena Hart studied the alien formation. She could sense their uncertainty, and she knew it was time to make her move, but not with weapons. Humans had a way of winning respect without firing a shot. "Prepare the demonstration," Elena ordered. Her voice was steady but firm. The crew knew exactly what that meant. Engineers adjusted the ship's energy systems. Pilots ran simulations, and weapons were set to stand by, not to attack, but to show power. Lieutenant Marco, sitting at the communications panel, looked at her curiously. "Commander, are we going to scare them?" Elena smiled faintly. "Not scare, Marco, impress. They need to see what humans can do when we combine strategy, speed, and technology." Aria, the pilot, ran through the navigation systems. "I'm ready. The asteroid field is tricky, but we can use it to our advantage." Elena nodded. "Then let's begin." The Starfire suddenly shifted, gliding smoothly between the massive asteroids with remarkable precision. Its shields flared slightly as energy beams swept along the hull, reflecting light across the bridge. The Zerth commanders watched in disbelief. The ship's movements were calculated, fast yet graceful, impossible for them to predict. "Look at that," Marco muttered. "They're frozen. They don't know how we are moving like this." Elena didn't answer. She focused on the ship's display. Tiny drones detached from the Starfire, moving in synchronized formations around the ship. They zipped through the asteroid field, dodging massive rocks and appearing almost like fireflies dancing in the void. Each drone emitted a faint energy pulse, scanning the surroundings, showing coordination and intelligence. One of the alien ships tried to move closer, as if to intimidate the humans. But the Starfire responded with perfect timing. The ship rotated, the shields flaring, and the drones shifted positions to block the path. The alien ship stopped, unable to predict the human movements. "Commander, they're confused," Arya said quietly. "They've never seen anything like this before." Elena smiled. "Good. Let them learn." She tapped a panel and the ship's engines pulsed, sending waves of energy visible even to the aliens' long-range sensors. The waves were harmless but impressive, demonstrating that the human warship could manipulate energy with incredible precision. The Zerth fleet moved again, slowly, but each time the Starfire countered without firing a single shot. The humans were showing something more powerful than weapons: discipline, intelligence, and courage. Suddenly, one of the aliens attempted a scanning strike, sending out a pulse designed to penetrate the human shields. Elena's crew anticipated it instantly. The shields flared, redirecting the energy harmlessly into space while a counter-signal fed false data back to the alien scanners. The Zerth ship paused, unsure what had happened. "Commander," Marco said, "they are trying to measure us, but we are making them fail. They don't understand our systems." "Exactly," Elena replied. "Humans adapt. Humans think faster. Humans survive when others panic." The human crew continued the demonstration. The drones formed intricate patterns weaving between asteroids and each other, almost like a dance. The Starfire rotated, showing its full size, its energy systems glowing, its shields reflecting every pulse from the alien fleet. The Zerth commanders whispered to each other, their hesitation growing. One of the smaller alien vessels edged forward aggressively, perhaps hoping to intimidate the humans. Elena gave a single command. The ship responded instantly, rotating and pulsing its energy systems. The alien ship froze, unable to predict the human strategy, and slowly pulled back. Arya smiled. "Commander, they can't decide what to do. Every move we make stops them," Elena nodded. "That's the point. They are seeing humans not as prey, not as weaklings, but as something different, something they must respect." Hours passed as the Starfire continued its careful maneuvers. The aliens did not attack. They did not advance. They simply watched, analyzing, calculating, trying to understand. The human crew, calm and professional, showed no fear. Every movement, every calculation, every coordinated drone demonstrated human skill and intelligence. Finally, Elena turned to her crew. "Prepare to return to standard formation. This demonstration is complete. But remember, they will not forget it. Humans are capable of far more than they imagine." The alien fleet remained frozen even as the Starfire slowly resumed its patrol course. For the first time, the Zerth commanders considered retreat, realizing that one human warship, with clever strategy and precision, could challenge dozens of their vessels. They could not underestimate humans anymore. Elena watched them through the main screen. She knew that their first impression was vital, and humans had delivered it perfectly. She turned to her crew and smiled proudly. "Well done, everyone. You've just shown the galaxy what humans are capable of, without firing a single weapon." The crew exchanged quiet smiles, pride evident in their faces. They had done more than survive. They had impressed, outsmarted, and commanded respect. The Starfire glided through the asteroid field, a silent symbol of human skill, courage, and ingenuity. And somewhere in the alien fleet, the Zerth whispered in disbelief. One human ship had frozen an entire fleet. One human ship had shown that humans were not just strong, they were clever, disciplined, and dangerous in ways no one could predict. The asteroid field stretched endlessly, dark rocks spinning silently in the void. Commander Elena Hart watched the sensors carefully. The Starfire had already impressed the alien fleet, the Zerth, but the real test was just beginning. The aliens were cautious now, but they had not retreated. Elena knew that humans had to show more than skill, they had to show courage. "Commander," Lieutenant Arya said, her hands steady on the controls. "Asteroid storm incoming. Sensors detect large moving clusters. This could damage both fleets if we're not careful." Elena nodded. "We expected obstacles. Prepare for navigation protocols. Keep shields at maximum and maintain formation." The storm hit suddenly. Massive rocks tumbled unpredictably, some spinning faster than the Starfire's engines could dodge without precision. The bridge crew tightened their grips on consoles as alarms blared. "Brace for turbulence," Elena ordered calmly. "Remember, humans adapt." Arya's hands flew over the navigation controls. The Starfire darted between huge boulders, shields flaring as energy pulses deflected smaller debris. The drones detached once again, forming protective patterns around the ship. They zipped through the storm, scanning and clearing a path for the human vessel. "Commander," Marco said, "the aliens are struggling. Their ships are slowing down, colliding with smaller rocks. They're not built for this level of agility." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Good, keep observing. We don't attack, we show skill and precision. That is more terrifying than any weapon." The storm grew stronger. One massive asteroid tumbled dangerously close to the alien fleet, threatening to smash several ships. Elena considered her options. Humans were not reckless, they were smart. "Deploy drones to assist," she said. "We guide them safely through the storm. Show them humans are not only capable fighters but also intelligent allies." The drones moved fast, weaving between alien ships and asteroids. They emitted pulses that helped recalibrate the alien navigation systems, preventing collisions. Some of the smaller alien ships hesitated, unsure whether to accept help. Yet slowly, under careful guidance, the fleet regained order. One alien commander, braver than the rest, edged closer, scanning the Starfire with curiosity. Elena watched carefully. "Maintain calm. They are testing us as much as we are testing them." A sudden loud alarm shook the Starfire. A massive rock, larger than any previously seen, hurtled directly toward one of the alien ships. Elena's decision was immediate. "Divert power to shields and engines. Drones intercept." The human drones moved faster than anyone expected. They formed a barrier, absorbing and redirecting the asteroid's path. The alien ship was spared, and for a moment the fleet paused in surprise. Humans had risked their own resources to save potential enemies. "Commander, they're staring," Marco said. "They didn't expect that. No human would act like this. They might attack if it were weakness, but this is clever." Elena nodded. "Humans think beyond strength. We consider strategy, morality, and consequence. That is what sets us apart." The storm continued, testing every system on the Starfire. Arya maneuvered through narrow gaps, sometimes moving faster than human eyes could follow, shields flaring against collisions. Elena remained calm, issuing commands only when necessary, trusting her crew's skill. Finally, the storm began to subside. The asteroid field calmed, and both fleets could breathe in the void once more. The Zerth fleet had survived, but they were shaken. Their calculations had failed. Their systems had struggled. They had seen a human crew think, adapt, and act under extreme pressure, something they could not easily match. Elena turned to her crew. "Today we showed more than skill. We showed courage. We showed intelligence under pressure. That is what humans do. We survive, we protect, and we adapt." The crew exchanged smiles, pride shining in their eyes. They had not fired a single shot. Yet they had demonstrated more power than many fleets of equal size. The Starfire glided smoothly now, shields pulsing softly, its drones circling like guardians. From the alien perspective, the Zerth commanders whispered across their network. Some admitted quietly that they had underestimated humans. One ship had shown more courage and intelligence than many fleets of their own kind. Another suggested retreat, while others argued for careful observation. The humans had created doubt where previously there had been certainty. Elena observed the alien fleet silently. She knew that today was only a beginning. They had survived, impressed, and demonstrated humanity's skill, but the galaxy was vast and challenges would only grow. Still, she felt a deep sense of pride. Humans had faced fear, uncertainty, and overwhelming numbers, and they had emerged stronger. "Set course for outer perimeter patrol," she ordered. "We remain alert, but we continue our mission. Remember, crew, humans do not back down. We do not panic, and we never underestimate any challenge." As the Starfire moved away from the asteroid field, leaving the Zerth fleet to contemplate what they had seen, a quiet message passed through Elena's mind. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were thinkers, leaders, and brave enough to face the impossible. And the aliens would never forget this test of courage. The Starfire glided silently through the calm, outer rim of the asteroid field. Commander Elena Hart watched the Zerth fleet on long-range sensors. They had survived the storm, observed the human maneuvers, and yet remained uncertain. The humans had not fired a weapon, but they had spoken a language stronger than lasers or missiles: discipline, intelligence, and courage. Lieutenant Marco leaned over his console, still amazed. "Commander." "They're not moving. Their fleet is frozen. I don't think they've ever seen anything like us." Elena nodded quietly. "Humans are unpredictable. That is our strength. We adapt, we survive, and we act with purpose. Today, they've seen it." The alien fleet remained in a tight formation, scanning and recalculating. Some of their smaller ships hesitated at the edges, unsure if they should retreat or continue observing. The larger command vessels communicated with urgency, yet the message was unclear. The Zerth did not understand humans fully, and that hesitation spoke volumes. Arya, the pilot, adjusted the navigation controls as the Starfire moved closer to the fleet. "Commander, they're watching every move. It's like they're afraid to act. Every shift we make, they hesitate." "That's exactly what we want," Elena replied. "We don't need to fight to prove our strength. The fact that they pause, consider, and question themselves means humans have made an impression." Suddenly, a signal flashed across the alien network. One of the Zerth commanders attempted to communicate, sending a series of energy pulses toward the Starfire. Elena leaned forward, watching the code flow across the sensors. It was not a threat, it was curiosity, cautious and respectful. The aliens wanted to understand what they had just encountered. "Commander," Marco said, "they're trying to communicate, but it's different. They don't know how to read our systems." Elena smiled faintly. "Then let them try. Let them learn that humans do not reveal everything at once. We show strength, intelligence, and courage, but not all of our power." The Starfire rotated slowly, displaying its full size and energy array to the Zerth. Its shields glowed softly. Drones circled in perfect formation and every system ran in harmony. The humans had proven that they were organized, disciplined, and capable. One ship, small but decisive, had frozen a fleet. Across the alien network, a debate erupted. Some commanders suggested retreat, worried about the human ship's unexpected abilities. Others argued for engagement, but hesitation was clear. The human crew had created doubt where there had once been certainty. Elena turned to her crew. "We've done more than survive. We've made them think. And thinking is something humans excel at. Remember that." Arya nodded. "Commander, do you think they'll attack us later?" Elena shook her head. "Perhaps. But they will think twice. They've learned that humans are not just fighters. We are leaders. We are clever. And we are brave enough to face the impossible." As the Starfire continued on its patrol route, it left the Zerth fleet to ponder their first encounter. The aliens had never seen such a combination of skill, courage, and intelligence in a single vessel. They had expected humans to be weak, predictable, and easily overwhelmed. But that perception had shattered. In the quiet of the bridge, Elena allowed herself a moment of pride. "Today, humanity has proven itself," she said softly. "Not through weapons, but through courage, strategy, and skill. That is the human way." The crew smiled quietly, each feeling the weight of what they had accomplished. They had survived an encounter with a massive alien fleet, impressed them, and sent a clear message. Humans were not to be underestimated. Far in the distance, the Zerth fleet began to pull back, some ships retreating slowly while others lingered, scanning, still unsure. They would tell their kind about this day, the day a single human warship froze an entire fleet with intelligence, skill, and courage alone. Elena spoke into the intercom, her voice calm but strong. "Set course for home base. We report our findings and prepare for the next patrol. Remember, crew, humans survive, humans adapt, and humans excel when others expect weakness. We leave them with a lesson they will never forget." The Starfire turned away from the alien fleet, engines glowing softly against the dark backdrop of space. Its drones returned to their stations. Shields dimmed slightly, but the power of the ship remained undeniable. Humans had proven their place in the galaxy, not just as survivors but as thinkers, warriors, and beings capable of earning respect through courage and intelligence. As the alien fleet finally withdrew, hesitant and cautious, the crew of the Starfire felt a quiet satisfaction. They had not needed to fight to make their mark. Their first encounter had been enough. Humans had left a permanent impression. Clever, disciplined, and unstoppable when united. Elena gazed at the stars ahead, knowing this was only the beginning. Humanity's story in the galaxy was just starting, and if this first encounter was any sign, they would be remembered not as a species to conquer but as one to respect. And so, as the Starfire glided through the endless night of space, the galaxy held its breath, knowing that humans had arrived, and they were unlike anything the stars had ever seen.